Now, there's another character here. Let me expand that a little bit with my wonderful artistic skills here. Okay, we have the main character here, and that small voice that we have within ourselves that we consider being a different way, that's like another soldier on the field, called the obstacle character, or sometimes the influence or impact character, depending on who you talk to. There's discrepancy in the ranks of the dramatic of faithful on this one. So anyway, the obstacle or the impact or influence character. Imagine this soldier now in the field. He doesn't have that view of the big strategies. He's got these big dramatic explosions going off all around him and putting up smoke, just like fires we've had here recently in Southern California. And through that smoke, he's trying to do just the best thing he can to survive and accomplish his job, whatever his job is. And he's the protagonist, antagonist, emotional character, whatever. He's trying to do his job, but he's also trying to survive as the identity of the story. He's where we see the story through there. But as he's going along this path, which seems the best way to go, the best path he can take, he takes that path and he's saying, I got to get forward, and suddenly this other figure, shadowy figure, appears through the dramatic explosions. This other soldier, and you can't tell if it's a friendly soldier or if it's an enemy soldier. But that soldier shouts to him, get off the path. Well, this is the path that he figures is the best way to get through. I know this from my personal experience, Spock. This is the best way to go through, okay? And in going through, he gets through it, and he thinks he's doing right, but this other person's blocking his path saying, get off the path. Well, the main character says, no, get out of my way. This is the way I gotta go. No, get off the path. No, get out of my way. They go back and forth between them. Is he an enemy soldier trying to lure him into an ambush? Or is he a friendly soldier trying to keep him walking into a minefield? Well, the main character can't tell because he can't see beyond that. General can tell on the hill. Okay, main character can. Main character just knows this is the way I've always done things. And now somebody's standing in my way saying, do it differently. Well, that's like the ghosts in A Christmas Carol. I mean, saying, yeah, this is the way you've always done things, change your ways, you know. Anytime you see a character who changes in the story, it's like this character here represents that devil's advocate view, that little voice within ourselves, the flip side of the coin. You see characters all the time that we'll see in a moment saying, you and I are just alike. No, we're nothing alike. Okay, that's part of the argument between the main and the obstacle character, where one is saying, we're just alike because we're both trying to accomplish this. No, we're nothing alike because we're taking two different methods and they're diametrically opposed. Okay, they're talking apples and oranges. Okay, but you see that all the time. This other character here, that's the third point of view, where you look at you. Say you, and you do that within your own mind. You say, this is me, but what if I were you? Not in so many words, obviously, but you imagine becoming that kind of person and you're looking at it from who you are. You don't jump over and say, well, if I were this kind of person, ooh, now I am this kind of person. What do I think about that? Well, I don't know, let me go back and be this kind of person. Well, I don't know which one I like better. No, you are you and you stay you until you decide, I'm going to change my view on something, I'm going to change my attitude, I'm going to change something about that, and then you say, well, I guess I am convinced I should get off the path. Okay, I will adopt this point of view now, and that's how we change. We sometimes do it subconsciously, we sometimes do it consciously, and that's also reflected in stories. But we do have to have that view, the I and the you inside, those little parts of ourselves that we deal with. And we also try to step back objectively and see ourselves as a person. What's left? This personal skirmish between the two as they have it out, as one convinces the other, as they argue about that individual issue. Now that individual issue may have a big effect on the big battle, but they're not concerned with that at the moment. They're concerned with whether this guy is going to let the other one through, be pushed out of the way, or whether this guy is going to be intimidated by it or convinced and go off the path. That's the argument between those two characters who you and I are just alike. Who's going to convince who? Is Dr. Richard Kimball going to keep helping people, even in the face of getting caught and putting himself at risk? Or is he going to give up and say, oh, the hell with it, you know, I'm just looking out for myself? No, he sticks with it. And because he sticks with it, Tommy Lee Jones, in The Fugitive, who doesn't care, learns to care. He changes and realizes not everybody I'm going after is guilty, and in fact, I can't just arrest them because that's my job. I actually have to maybe give them a little leeway, if it's appropriate, for them to prove that maybe they weren't guilty and have justice actually be done. So Tommy Lee Jones changes his tune. He got off the path, okay? But we're seeing it through Dr. Richard Kimball's eyes, and in that case, he doesn't change, he sticks by his guns and forces this guy off the path, okay? That's how it works. That battle between the two of them is we. That's what's happening between us. So I, you, we, and they, the four perspectives that we have in real life, the four perspectives we use in relationship to ourselves and others, are actually things that we use within our own minds. I, you, we, and they, and actually need to be represented in stories as well as the four primary points of view. No longer can we just say a story has a single point of view. We can look at a story only as, alas, poor story, I knew it well. but we also have to step inside and see what it's like to be in that story as if we were the sense of self of the storyline. And we have to have that other voice in there, or we're missing a whole point of view that needs to be explored. We've narrowed it down to a tale if we just follow one character going through the objective action. But if we bring in this other character and the argument they make between them, we've added the passionate argument as well as the dispassionate argument, and therefore we have a complete argument which makes our complete story. Okay? So that's how the story of mind works, and the 4 main points of view. And when you follow them each, it's like the interesting thing. If you're watching a football game and you have 4 camera angles, you only see one at a time, and the action goes from this camera angle and picks up on this camera angle and picks up on that camera angle. But if you have the videotape replay of all of them, you can see them side by side, where you've got all of them happening one after another in sync, so that what's happening from the first camera angle and the second camera angle, there's different angles on the same thing. When you do a story, you have to show it all. You have to show it all. You can't just show bits of it. So you have to actually have what it's like for the main character to go through the whole thing. And you have to have what it looks like objectively through the whole thing. You have to have this other character, this other point of view represented through the whole thing. And you have to have the passionate argument between them, that personal skirmish between those 2 characters has to go through the whole thing. How you tell it in storytelling, how you mix it up and patch it together, whether you do 2 of those things in one scene, whether you spread them out in different chapters, how you do it, that's a storytelling theme for tomorrow, largely, about how you approach that. But all 4 of these through lines have to be in there. Otherwise, you've missed a whole point of view. And when they're extended over time, as I mentioned, instead of being just a point of view, it becomes a through line. So, the 2 concepts we've gotten in the last couple of minutes are the story mind and what it is, and that there are 4 points of view that need to be in that story mind represented in the story, and to carry them through the entire story, making 4 through lines that have to be explored, each one complete.